Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Zoe Wafelbakker and this is Living in Austin. Today we're going to do a slightly different one and it is about the whole home buying process. I'm going to really kind of summarize it, but I wanted people to know this because quite a few people have reached out to us internationally, and so the whole buying process in the US is totally foreign to them. And it was to us when we moved here. So I wanted to cover that, and also, it's different in every state. So I'm going to cover some bullet points here, and I hope that's useful to you for when you're looking at moving to Austin. So let's get to it. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Zoe Wafelbakker with Agape Property Group here in Austin, Texas. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for checking us out. If you'd like to hit that little subscribe button below and that notification bell next to it, you'll get notified every time that we do a video. And we're uploading them every week. Because if you're here, I suspect you're probably a little bit curious about all the things about Austin, what it's like to live, work, eat, play, all those things, so that you know before you move. Now, as much as we love doing these videos, we are licensed realtors here in the state of Texas, and we actually love helping people even more buy and sell real estate. So if you are thinking about making that move, and living in a house is part of that decision, then make sure that you reach out. You've got our phone number, our email below. Give us a call, drop us a text, do whatever you have to do, but get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. I'm the one that answers the phone, and I'd love to be able to chat about what your plans are. It's a big old decision. We've been there, so we can totally relate. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the home buying process. And you're probably like, oh my gosh, glazing over right now. Well, please don't glaze over. I'll make it nice and short and lovely. First things first, you're doing the right thing. You're watching videos. You're figuring out if it's the right place for you. Now, if you are looking at actually buying a home, or living in a home or renting a home, whatever it is, reach out to a realtor. We're here to help you. And so, especially for our international friends, here are some key things to know. When you are looking at it, first of all, yes, choose a realtor. That's number one. Choose a realtor. They'll help you, they'll guide you. And here's something that you should know. And you might go, oh gosh, yeah, of course, you're selling yourself, how much is that going to cost? Now, a realtor's going to go through this with you. It's, per the buyer agreement, buyer agent agreement. But, 98% of the time, the builder or the seller actually pays our commission. So I don't like to say we don't cost anything. We do, our services do, but it's not you that is paying for it at closing. So, but that's a detail, because if you want to buy like a for sale by owner, a house that is for sale by owner, then they might not want to pay us, and it depends on the realtor on what they're going to do with that. But pretty much like 98% of the time, we are going to be paid by the seller. So that's the first thing to know. So that's all good news. Get in contact. What happened? And also we don't get paid until you actually, close on a house either. So there's typically, or certainly not with us, any kind of upfront fee or anything. Then once you've done that, you need to have a chat to a lender. I always recommend local lenders. Market's changed a little bit, so it's not like, oh, use a local lender because they help, their reputation's good because they're helping you compete against all these others. Choose a local lender because their reputation counts, because they get the job done. Now, especially at the moment, you don't want like a yes man lender that will just like go, yeah, you know, you can borrow $700,000 with 5% down, no problem, as the rates, you know, might be slowly going up. You don't want that. You want that thorough work done beforehand, to make sure that you really are solid, because there's going to be nothing worse than that happen and you've found dream home, you're like mentally in there, you're 2 weeks to closing, and then your lender turns around, or the underwriter turns around and goes, oh, sorry, no, it's your debt to income ratio doesn't work for this house because the rate's gone up by 0.5 point or whatever. Whatever the scenario is. So they're going to do, a local lender's going to do their homework, because they've got to do business around here. So I'd really avoid like the big banks. So that's the second one. Then you start looking for a house. Happy days, that's the fun part. Going around, looking at different houses, you set up a search, narrow it down. I won't give you my full kind of buyer consultation presentation right now. But then let's get to the point that you find dream home, beautiful, love it, put in an offer. Offer might go backwards and forwards for a little bit. Offer gets accepted, great. Now this is the part that I wanted you guys to know about. So in Texas, we have what's called an option period. Now that option period is typically like 5 or 7 days. That gives you the unrestricted right to terminate the contract. Like, what? When we came over here, it's like, really? But you've got to put a fee down for that, an option fee. Okay, now that varies. It varies because of if there's multiple offer situation, you want to be more competitive. It varies on the price of the house. Okay, and it's like a little deposit. So you know, let's just say one this week we put down, it was a 300. I'm just like thinking, well, how much was that? $300 or $500? I think 300. I think we did a 500 on a $700,000 house, and that option fee is there. So if you decide to back out of the contract for any reason, you can, but you're not going to get that $500 back. Okay. Now this is your opportunity. In that 5 to 7 days, you can get an inspection done. You will get an inspection done if you work with us. I highly recommend you do that. And then the inspector's going to give you, no doubt, a 30-page report. That's his job, is to find fault in the house. And we go through what is the big concerns, okay? And you're typically looking like big ticket items. Is there mold? Is the roof okay? Is the foundation okay? Is the electrical okay? Is the plumbing okay? We're kind of looking at that. We're not looking at there's paint missing, you know, and that kind of thing. Not the cosmetic things. Big fundamental stuff we're looking at. And then once that's kind of agreed, there might be a little bit of negotiation again. Listen, I want a couple $100 off, or $1,000, or can you fix this? Whatever it is. Or you might be just like, happy days, that's great, happy to move forward. You're happy to move forward, and then, you know, you'll move out of option period. Heads up on inspections. You know, this is another cost to remember. You know, I'd budget anywhere from say $400 to $700. It depends on the size of the house. It depends on the location. If it's like a long way out and they've got to really drive for it. It depends if you've got a sewer that needs to be checked. If there's a swimming pool. If you want a termite inspection. All these things can add up. So budget anywhere, you know, $400 to $700. I think it's fair to estimate $550-ish, you know, without a swimming pool or spa. And then you're in the other amount of money that you've given, 3 days. So I'm going to rewind a little bit there. So you go under contract, and then within 3 days you need to deliver the option fee and earnest money. That option fee goes to the title company. They handle the whole process. And that earnest money goes to them as well, and that's typically like 1%. Again, when it's competitive, it can be more, but you know, allow that. So you're going to need those funds. Now that earnest money is there to protect you and the seller. So There are points throughout the contract that you could get to, like there's a financing contingency in there that you've got X amount of days to make sure that your financing is all in order. Now, if you get to say day 14, you've got 14 days in there, and financing is not looking good, you can terminate the contract and get your earnest money back. You won't get that option fee back though, that you won't get that smaller amount back. Or if there's something in the HOA documents that you're just like, you cannot grow trees in your backyard. I do an extreme example. I've never ever seen that. And you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot live in a house that does not have a yard with trees. You can terminate the contract and get your option fee back, your earnest money back. Little things like that, not little, they're quite big. Your title commitment. You go through title, there's something in the title that you're not happy about, or there's something that the title doesn't cover. Then you have, per whatever's written in the contract, X amount of days to review the title commitment. If you object, you can terminate the contract and get your title commitment back. And what I always say to our clients here as well is like, but if you're like 28 days into the contract and you're closing on day 30, and all those deadlines, those opportunities have passed, and you just decide that you just don't want to buy the house anymore, or you get relocated to New Zealand, let's use New Zealand, then you need to terminate the contract, then you don't have an opportunity to get that money back. So you would lose your earnest and your option money, okay? So they're the most important things that I wanted to let you know about. And when, for my international friends, because when I lived in New Zealand, when I lived in the UK and other countries, you don't have buyer's agents. It was new to me when we moved here, and I think it's such a cool thing, because what buyer's agents are doing, for you is they've got your back. They're there to help you. They'll run comps for you. They'll do market analysis for you so that you don't feel that you're offering too much or too little or whatever it is. And they are going to essentially handhold you through the whole process and make sure that you're meeting these deadlines and making sure the lender has got everything in check. And obviously they're there to open the doors and show you around the properties and really learn about what's important to you. A really good realtor, I'm kind of passionate about this, should sit down with you and really learn about what's important. And it's not just that, I want 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms and a bit of a backyard. It's not about that. It's about what your lifestyle is and what you're wanting, and potentially school districts, and if special education's a need or not a need, or are you going to be driving all over town for after school activities? Like, really learn about you and your family, or whatever your situation looks like. So, and then they're going to take you all the way through and make sure it's as smooth as possible. We can't always guarantee that. We're working with many different parties that act differently in every transaction, but we do our darndest to make sure it does happen. And then, then you close on the house, and any good realtor is going to be there for you afterwards. It's a relationship for a long time. They shouldn't just go, yeah, cheers, thanks, see ya. They're there to, recommend any vendors or ask any questions and remind you to do things and remind you to, make sure you change your address or do your driver's license or update your driver's license on your, update your address on your driver's, random things like that. And then they should be there to your go-to as well for when it comes into the tax season, and there to give you documents, and also when it comes to appraisals and all that kind of stuff. But we're getting a bit too deep on that. Anyway, guys, I want to give you a bit of a lowdown on that. I hope you're still awake. Hello. But as always, if you have any questions, please make sure you reach out. Ask us and give us a call. Ask us any questions and give us a call, drop us a text, do all those things. You've got our details below. Also, hey, don't forget to subscribe. The idea of these videos is to give you valuable content, and if you subscribe, then you're going to be getting, that valuable content every week. And hey, if you've got some suggestions for us, drop them below as well. If there's areas that you want to see, and I've got some few really cool ideas coming up, but you're the ones that are viewing it, and if you want to see something specifically, let us know. Got the GoPro, we'll go out and do some video. All right guys, until next time, have a fabulous week. Take care. Bye bye.